Hey mamas, let's talk about the B word a moment, boundaries. What comes up for you when I utter that word? Quick, run for cover. You're not alone. It's because they get a bad rap. They're misunderstood, and we don't know how to implement them even when we recognize that we need them. But boundaries are a game changer, especially in divorce. They are strategy both in divorce and life. Strategy that creates clarity, calm, and freedom. It's true. When many of us hear the mention of boundaries, we immediately view them as harsh, something that will upset others. They scare us. And yet, we should be scared of sacrificing ourselves, bowing to the needs of others before our own. In the end, no one truly benefits in that scenario. So, if you need a little boundary brush up and desire creating more calm in the chaos, this one is for you. Let me reframe this for you and remind you that boundaries are actually very loving. I'm calling this conversation Boundaries, a Love Story. Oh, and I even wrote a poem about it, which I'll share with you. Hi there, mamas. Welcome to the Intuitive Divorce Podcast. I'm Kristen Noel, certified divorce coach and creator of the Best Self Intuitive Divorce, a game-changing program that transforms the experience and outcomes of divorce, one mother at a time. I call it Divorcing Differently. I'm here each week bringing you a quick message to support, inspire, and empower you to achieve the outcomes you want for yourself and your kids. So let's dive into today's episode. Let's face it, there are so many healing buzzwords that get tossed around, especially when we're in pain, like divorce. And yet, we aren't quite sure how to access them, let alone put them into motion. Boundaries are at the top of that list. But boundaries scare us. We see them as walls. We see them as unkind. We don't see them as creating new possibilities, and we certainly don't see them as loving. But nothing could be further from the truth. This is a biggie for mamas going through divorce and comes up a lot for the women in our coaching program who are navigating the messiness of the process and stepping into new versions of themselves and creating new ways of being. They tend to wait to figure out how to set a boundary after they have attended to the needs of everyone else, checked off everything from the to-do list, and shown up for every ask, invitation, and obligation. But where are they in this equation? Well, you likely already know the answer to that question. Lost in the mix, deflated, and maybe even seething at the bottom of the laundry basket. Eventually, we all hit our wall, the place where we're done and can't take a second more. The problem is that to many around us, it seems like it just came out of nowhere. But in reality, we've been carrying it for as long as we can remember, and it's time to let it go. Healthy boundaries help us recalibrate and see what is possible, what we need, want, and desire. And yes, mama, you are entitled to have needs, wants, and desires. While we're at it, you've also got a treasure trove of feelings just waiting to be felt. As my friend Sarah Seidelman, the creator of a beautiful painting, said, boundaries make love possible. Boundaries create clarity, not chaos. They communicate clearly what we will and will not tolerate, how we will and will not allow someone to treat us. They convey expectations and outline ground rules. That may sound scary at first. It may make you feel like you are going to upset someone else when you tell them this. And maybe there's a little truth to all of that. But let me ask you this. Is this worth the pain of continued self-sacrifice? And in many cases, emotional abuse? What is the cost to you? What price are you paying by bypassing your needs to suit those of another? Let me give you an example how a little pain can reap a great deal of gain. Communication with your soon-to-be ex during the process and long after while navigating co-parenting can be extremely triggering. You can hope and pray that they will get to a healthy place with all of this eventually, but you need to deal with the reality of what is unfolding in this present moment. And you only control your side of the street. So in the spirit of this, you get to set the tone and declare what you are available for and what you are not available for. No one knows how to trigger you more than your spouse, and sadly, they will, especially when they're not getting what they want when they want it. Do I hear a boundary barreling around the corner? I sure hope so. When you see communication that should be kept to child-focused details veering off course, shut it down. When you receive long, ranting emails, shut it down. When your ex tries to bait you into an argument in front of the kids, shut it down. When your kids try to push your buttons and get what they want, shut it down. When anyone on your divorce team tries to coerce you to make a move that doesn't feel aligned, shut it down. When friends or family ask or expect too much, shut it down. Have you given yourself permission to walk away, shut it down, not engage? You don't have to dance an old dance any longer, Mama. Retire those dancing shoes. You may not even realize that you've been doing this or that you have a choice in the matter. Maybe you're beginning to recognize a pattern here, but you don't know how to break free from it. By no means do I glorify divorce. I know exactly how hard it is. However, I also know that it is an opportunity for revealing, healing, and becoming, a chance for powerful transformation. It's a time of self-awareness and rebirth, birthing a new version of self. Boundaries are not only about honoring self, they're about freedom and rescripting how you move through life. Boundaries have been given a bad rap for sure. For most of us, it's like learning a foreign language at first. But once we begin to become fluent, life begins to look and feel differently. And guess what? We get to speak to more and more people who speak the same language. Now, I'm no poet, but early one morning, in response to some communication I was having with one of my mamas, I wrote this for her, for you, for me, for all of us learning a new language and flexing a new muscle. I'm calling this Boundaries, a Love Story, a poem by Kristen Noel. I set a boundary and trampled all over it. I set a boundary and let others trample all over it. I set a boundary and was afraid of upsetting other people. I set a boundary and I tiptoed into unknown territory even though it made me uncomfortable. I set a boundary and held my breath waiting for the reactions. I set a boundary and it got noisy and I backpedaled. I set a boundary because the circumstances didn't change and I was drowning. I set a boundary because I love myself and I am worthy of calm. I set a boundary, and whether you like it or not, that's a love story to me. As our team member Joe always reminds me, we should view boundaries as doors, not walls. It's about you, your life, your nervous system, your well-being, your sweet little soul that's been trampled upon for far too long. What if the most loving thing you could do is set a boundary? Show people how to treat you and invite them to do the same. Breathe that in and remember, the next time you cross your own boundary and break a promise to self, you get to recognize where you have a need that needs you. Yes, boundaries make love possible. And loving self and honoring your needs is on the top of the list, Mama. Thanks for listening to today's episode, but more importantly, for making this time for yourself. If you're a professional, independent mother facing off with divorce, struggling with your emotions, worried about your kids and your future, and want a better way to navigate it all, I've got 2 ways to completely change the trajectory of your divorce and your life starting today. The first is our free divorce workshop. In this training, you'll learn the 3 steps to get off the emotional roller coaster and take control of your divorce so you can save time, money, and heartache for you and your family. Simply go to intuitivedivorce.com/workshop. And the second way is to book a free strategy call with our team, where we'll dive into your situation, your struggles, what you really want, and outline a path to get you there. For a short video and the booking link, go to intuitivedivorce.com/call. Check it out, and I'll see you inside. Now I have a favor to ask you, Mama. If you enjoyed this conversation and were inspired in your own divorce, please subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss future juicy talks. And I'd be so grateful if you'd leave a review so together we can help other mamas walking in the same shoes.